What's going on, guys? Here we go. Part 5. Who is Big Poe? Picking right back up where we left. So we left off with my manager turning down my deal with Jive Records in a time where I could really use the money, in a time where I was a young man, tired of the dope game, tired of all the stuff that came with it, and was really looking forward to that signing bonus. You know what I mean? You had everybody else deals was accepted. You had Bean getting his signing bonus with Rockefeller. You had Most Wanted getting their signing bonus. You had Dutch and Spade waiting on their deal with Entertainment, and you had Murder Mill getting his signing bonus, and which was with Jive Records. Stevie G, he accepted Murder Mill's deal. You know what I mean? He accepted the deal for Murder Mill, but didn't accept the deal for mine. Didn't accept it. You know what I mean? So that was just like, that was a hurt piece. You know what I mean? On top of, man, just all that a young black man goes through in the hood, man. Well, I'm from Southwest Philly, bro. Like, yo, I was deep in the streets and I was tired of the streets. I mean, bodies dropping, bro. I'm talking about people getting killed right beside you. You know what I mean? I'm talking about losing friends. I'm talking about just all hell breaking loose, man. Court case after court case, dude. I'm talking about just a really rough situation. You know what I mean? Where I'm from, it is really a blessing if you turn 21. I never forget how good I felt to make it to be 21 years old. You know what I mean? I'm from Southwest Philly. I mean, a lot of you heard of the JBM era. Well, there was the JBM era, and then my era was right after that. You know what I mean? And as far as streetwise, it was the nephews of the JBM, and the sons of the you know what I mean? It was like that era. So thick residue from that get down and lay down, the whole JBM movement was still, I mean, running rampant through the streets. You know what I mean? And you had to be strong to survive. You couldn't be no clown. You had to be strong to survive. And especially if you thought you was going to be in the street game, in the dope game. You had to be strong to survive, man. So I sit before you with street credibility, you know what I mean? For all that's worth. Never told on nobody. Fought all my cases like a man. Thank God I beat all my cases. Paid for bail, paid lawyer money, a lot of lawyer money. You know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of people, but I never lost touch with who I was as a person as far as respect to old ladies. It's a little different than this generation. Respect to, like, trying to be respectful as possible to the neighbors on the block I was hustling on. You know, things like that, helping ladies with their bags, or, you know, trying not to curse in front of, like, ladies, and, you know, trying to be respectful of kids. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But it was rough. I remember feeling myself become an animal. You had to become an animal in order to survive. Period. But anyway, I was tired of that lifestyle. I was tired of it, bro. The constant threat of well, it could have indictment pad, people getting indicted all around you, you know. On top of the cases you had, it was just like, yo, our block, you know, what we had going on was raking in bread. You know, it was moving, it was chewing. And our block brought a lot of heat, a lot of stuff happened on our block, which brought a lot of attention from the law. You know what I mean? I've been through all of it, dog. All that stuff you see on First 48, that's my real life. I've been interrogated and all that and never folded, never told nothing. You know what I mean? Not that there was anything to tell, but I was tired of that life. So me, the hood, people felt it. Like, yo, we was like, yo, man, Big Poe, I'm ripping. I had this, that's where the excitement inside of me back then, I had that verse. I came home after the New York, going down there to New York for the first time, when the deal was on the table with Jive and just going and seeing all the different labels wanting me. When I came back and it was that famous line that everybody remembers that used to float around in the hood. It was on like a tape or on a mixtape. I knocked this door off the hinges. I'll be knocking whores off in Benzes. World is mine V-shades with the bronze lenses. Conversary money for my niggas getting sent. Weed and Alizé money for my niggas getting bent. What you looking for? Big poet, some big boy. Talk about the shit, cause the shit I live for. Chicks calling me cute, cause the coochie got a collar. Surrounded with groupies that wouldn't usually holler. It was just like, yo, that was a song that was just buzzing all through the hood. You know what I mean? Shout out to Gaze. I think I recorded that joint in my man Gaze crib. Black Gaze. Called him the Black Gazy. Shout out to Dominguez and the boys. But recorded that. My man, that was just raw. That wasn't no studio record. That was just raw. Back in the day, you play a beat, press record on the cassette. My man Gazy had a little setup in his crib, man. Came through there and just let it out. You know what I mean? I knocked this door off there and just went off. I mean, that tape floated all around through the hood. Not that it made no money, it just was the hood buzzer, you know what I mean? It was just something that was just like, yo, it's going down. It was like confirmation of like, yo, it's going down. And he's telling you right now, he knocked this door off the hinges. He's bringing everybody with him, you know what I'm saying? But he denied my deal with Jive Records. And it was like, yikes. Shoot. So I'm still in this game. It's hot. Pressure from all sides, from the law. It was just like, it's still in this game, man. This game is burning me out. The dope game, the rap game is frustrating me. The politics that I'm starting to feel as though my manager is playing. You know, this is my mindset back then, my perspective then. I'm feeling as though certain artists are being prioritized that shouldn't be prioritized. At that time, it's like, yo, let's tie my thing down and then move on to some of these other artists you was looking at. You know what I mean? Going on with. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I'm ready. My stuff is blazing. But like I said, I'm from Southwest Philly, but I wasn't like part of the original, you know, Steve's original vision of Most Wanted and came up, you know, they all came up together. Me and Steve busted up on the street level in the different times, but it was like they came up, he raised them up, man, Most Wanted. Not saying he was their father, but I'm just saying he groomed them through the music business and everything, keeping them out of trouble and, you know what I mean, or they'd have probably been tied up in some of the trouble I was tied up in. You know what I mean? So basically that deal being turned down was rough for me. And mind you, this was the time you had to work hard to get noticed. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it was savages, man. You had to be hotter or at least on the same level, same tier as the hottest artists around. And the names go on, you know what I'm saying? I've sparred with them all. Beanie Siegels, the Dutch and Spades, the Lavas, like I say, the Bubonics, you know what I mean? The Montanas, the Mr. Man, you know, Most Wanted. You're talking about, dude, the list goes on and on. The Cassidys, the list goes on and on. You had to be an animal back then, bro. If you ain't an animal, somebody will eat your food, you feel me? You had to be an animal about yours, lyrically, you know what I mean? Because that was the way to get on. It wasn't no, you got a bunch of followers, a bunch of likes and subscribes, and now labels want to give you attention because of the followers you got. No, they didn't care about your buzz back then. It was about, if you hot, show us you hot. If you hot, we gonna feel you. If you not, you ain't built for this. That's what the rap game and hip hop was at that time. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was about. So now that's why I said, like, man, I'm cut from a different cloth. So this hit stuff here is easier from the perspective of, it's just easier, man. With all these digital platforms you could do, it's just easier nowadays. You know what I mean? It's like you ain't even got to battle everybody in the world. You can just do your own thing. You know what I mean? Or you ain't got to rap everywhere in the world. You can just you can send flows. You know, you got to work. There's going to be legwork to it, but it's just easier, man. It's just people, the expectation is even lower nowadays. You know what I mean? Now, are the rappers hot? There are still some hot rappers. And you know, Philly is home of the spitter. There's still some hot rappers in Philadelphia. And there's some hot artists out there that's coming out. You know, there's some people out there doing it. But I'm just saying, it's just not the way it was. Back then, it was a different. You didn't rap, you didn't eat. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, it was a different world. But anyway, moving on beyond that, let's get to the Source Finals. So now, you got the hype from the mixtapes, the songs I put out in the hood, or stuff that got leaked by Mike Bipper, stuff just going around, me flowing, messing around. And, you know, you still got the Source Finals. So it's like, okay, now we move past the holidays. Now we into January. It's like, okay, it's time. And another side note, I remember talking with Dutch. Man, you know what? I'm going to save those things for the Dutch story because that's going to be a cool story. But anyway, we moving on to the final source. Okay, yo, let's go. Let's win these finals to get this right up in the Source magazine unsigned hype column. Let's go do what we got to do. So the way they had it set up is that, I mean, I was already buzzing extremely from Philly. Like I said, the hottest rappers from all around the United States, each state represented. So it felt good just representing Philly from that perspective, that I, did what I had to do in my city. And so now it was going to be a performance. You get to perform a joint, a song, and then after everybody performed, then came the battle rounds. So now, mind you, you got Southwest Philly. The support was there. I never forget, we went up there like 12 deep or something like that. I'll never forget bringing 10 people up on stage. You know what I mean? They drove up. I flew in because Source, they flew you in, gave you the hotel stay. So I flew into New York that day. That day is here. I flew in. I'm ready, rocking and rolling, and I was rocking my. You see the picture? That's where you see the picture of me like this with the pink, all the multiple colored Coogi sweater. Coogi was the thing back then. We would just go out when we was in that street game, and all the arrogance and the cockiness that came with that. We would just go out, Averex levers. We would just go spending bread, go to Center City. I forget, it was the name of a store that was like a designer spot. You go get some hot stuff from there. DeSante's or something. I forget what the name of it was, man. But we also would go to different, just whoever had the hottest blaze, you know what I mean? Like $5.50 on a sweater, crazy stuff, man. Stuff that don't really make sense to do. $500 on a sweater today, that's going into an investment. You know what I mean? I make smarter decisions. You know what I mean? I learned to make smarter decisions as time went on. But back then it was about spending. It was about grinding and shining. You know what I mean? Spending that bread. So I got my Coogi sweater on, my best one, pink. I mean, it was just all, the color was just blazing, sky blue jeans, whatever. And I fly in, the boys ride in, we get there, catch a cab from the airport, get to where we going, and everybody's just popping up at the West Side Manhattan, the suite in the Marquise. No, we was at the hotel, forget the name of the hotel, but it was in Manhattan. The show was going to be at the Kit Kat Club that night, so here's the gift and the curse. I'm gonna tell you the good was the performance, the bad was the battle, and I'm gonna show you how it all went down, okay? All right, performance stuff. Okay, we at the hotel, cats from Philly, man. Mike Bipper, E. Shibbles came up, Paul Dominguez, Little Bino, call him Little Bino, came up, my brother, my sister, Kim Ronley came up, Chris from 46th Street came up. My man Murder Maine came up. Wow. What, shout out to Murder Maine. My man Hafiz, who I told you I rap with in middle school, Feast came up. It was just, Paulie. Shout out to Paulie. He came up. Paulie the Barber. You know what I mean? Southwest Philly, stand up. Shout out to Paulie. Paulie came up. Always a big supporter of Big Poe. You know what I mean? It was just like, yo, everybody came up. They put me, since they loved me the most, of course, already they put me last to headline the performances. So mind you, there was like 28, 29 performances before mine. Okay. So what do we do during that time, waiting for 29 people to go? 28 people in the Kit Kat Club pack, 28, 29 people. You backstage, you're back there, you're out there, you're kicking it with your homies. The music is blasting, so I'm talking over the music the whole night. At the elevator pitch, yeah, what you say? Yada, 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 yada. I didn't believe in like smoking weed before I performed. When it came to like performing, I didn't play that. Very professional. I didn't do those things. I didn't even drink. I didn't want to be altered in any way. You know, I wanted to just be on my best. But I'm back there talking, everybody coming up, showing love. I'm talking over the loud system. You know what I mean? Yeah, all right, I'm out at you. Yeah, Poe, kill it. Yeah, we gonna kill it, whatever. This goes on for like maybe 2 to 3 hours. So now my voice is not at its best. Mind you, I'll talk about another situation that happened right before this also. The Major Figures messing around with Dutch, coming down there to support him, and Major Figures was having a concert at the Blue Horizon back then. And I'm up front listening to everything, and the speaker, speakers go, certain pitch destroyed my ear. To this day, I hear since that day, I've heard a buzzing. I get a ringing in my ear. One ear is better than the other. I get a constant ringing in my ear. You know how your ear ring after a firecracker? Well, imagine that forever. So that's something, if I paid attention to, that would drive me crazy, that ringing. You know what I mean? It's not loud because I think it's because I've just adapted to it. You know, but yeah, so that also happened. So, and when that happened that night at the Major Figure concert, I remember me and Dutch kicking it together and coming up, my equilibrium was off. I felt off balance and it was just weird. Told my mom about it or whatever. She set me up an appointment for an ear doctor. Went to see a doctor the next day. He told me, yo, just never turn volumes up and down. You can't do that with that ear. That he was like, basically, he don't think that could be repaired. He's like, I hope, but just don't adjust volumes. So basically, I wasn't even supposed to rap, do loud music and all that. Man, you think I was gonna stop at that time? Still rapping to this day. Live with it, you know what I mean? But anyway, okay, so that happened. So you got the little ear issue going on. Then now my voice is getting faded, but it's time. I'm still pumped. I'm ready. The intensity is built. You know what I mean? Cats looking at us like, who these cats from Philly, man? He following the boy everywhere you go. 10, 12, you know what I mean? Cats with him. You know, we was like deep like the Woo, you know what I mean? Or like how when the Ram Squad back in the day, you know what I mean? Them Duke Jokers would come on stage, man, but they probably be like 1,000 deep. But so we down there deep, we ready to represent, you know? And my time finally gets there after hours and hours of waiting to perform. They got me out. I come out, get deep, and then I come out, 10 cats on stage with me. This was a great moment because I'll never forget. It was like a moment to the people who've been riding with me from day one, listening to my music, feeling my music, you know what I'm saying? And telling the homies I'm the best. Just, you know, letting people know there ain't nobody fucking with Big Poe, yada, yada, yada. So they got to tell, I wanted them to feel that. So we all came out on stage. And since I had all my homies with me, it was like, yo, I'm going to do the joint deep. The hook was get deep with me. Hoes wanna creep with me, niggas that was on the street with me, gon' eat with me, get deep with me. Hoes wanna creep with me, niggas that was on the street with me, gon' eat. And it was like, y'all just wanted something that was like easy for them to, you know, to say along with. It was just like, they were just feeling the vibe. It was just crazy, man. Them dudes was already twisted from the hotel. That's another story. They drunk all of this stuff, man, out of the refrigerator, all this liquor and stuff. That stuff, we'll get back to that, you know what I'm saying? But they was thinking like that stuff was free, man. That stuff, when it was over, they didn't even want to let us back in the hotel room, man, until that bill was taken care of, which was crazy. But anyway, so it's time for me to perform. We go out. The performance was dope. You know what I mean? Although, I didn't feel like my mic was as loud as possible, but I think it was deeper than the mic. It was my voice beginning to fade. But it was cool. The performance went banging, you know what I mean? And bam. And I remember that night, Carmega saying, yo, Poe, time to turn your mic up or whatever. After I had did the performance, I was like, yeah, I know. But I was like, also, man, my voice was getting worse now after I performed. My voice was getting worse. Oh, man. And it was just really bad. So now you're waiting for the battle part. And I was like, now I'm panicking because like now I'm talking, like, couldn't even hear me. It was like, now my voice is gone. And plus I just gave it up at the performance. So now it's battle time. And basically, long story short, I came out there and I lost because my mind was on career setting. So I was bringing heat artistically. But at the same time, I could barely hear myself. You could barely hear me. So I was getting frustrated with struggling. And I don't do a lot of meltdowns. I was melting down because I was struggling with my voice to be heard. And now my ear is messing with me. The beat, for some reason, when it was battle time, I could hear the beat when it was performance time, but when it was battle time, it was like vibrating. It was just like, I wasn't getting it clear enough to really catch the beat because we were battling over beats. And it just wasn't my best. I wasn't at my best. I got frustrated. And the boy Jugger the Bully, who wasn't more talented than me, but he came and did like battle rap, like actually busting on you. So he said something about like my t-shirt. Like I got angry. Like I was frustrated during like my voice and not being able to hear stuff. So I yank off my Coochie sweater. I'm just like, oh, come on, let me get loose, you know? So mind you, my t-shirt wasn't the biggest in the world. It was like a regular size t-shirt to what cats would wear today. But back in the day, that was small. You know, regular size t-shirt was small, you know, back in the day because everything was about being baggy. So the boy said something like, you're tighty whitey, and like the crowd, of course, everybody drunk. The crowd just went crazy, you know what I mean? He killed me with that line. He freestyled on top of his head with it. And it beat me, you know what I mean? But so I credit him for winning, okay? But I just wanted to paint the picture so you see that I wasn't at my best that night. You know what I mean? So that's over. That's just like a big downer. You know what I mean? I lose that. Now my manager, I lose that situation, that competition. Okay, the finals. My manager then turned down my deal with Jive Records, like maybe a month or two after that. You know what I mean? It was just like, yo, ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, this is ridiculous. I was definitely just sick for a second. Like, I'm like, dang, I had the chance to get the joint wrote up while I was in Justin's that night when he approached me to write me up in the Source magazine. But I'm like, no, it's cool, because I knew I was going to kill it, which I did. I killed the performance but lost the battle. So I'm like, okay, well, the battle was part of getting it right up. But it was just so many opportunities, so much I could have done back then if I'd have just continued to do things on my own like I did how I ripped it for the Source. But it's like, yo, I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, I'm trusting now, you know, my management, like, all right, to do the right things. And it's just rough. Nowadays, I'm much more independent, and we'll get into that on this next part. You know what I mean? So I'll get into what happened in the downside now. I'll get into the down period after losing that battle in the Kit Kat Club. You know what I mean? I'll get into the downside of it. The upside of it was there was an entertainment lawyer who stepped to me. You know what I mean? It was like opportunities still there. And in that Source Award competition, it was crazy because I remember Sticky Fingers, seeing meeting Lord Tariq from Lord Tariq and Peter Guns. The love was just being shown. My man Carmega being there, I'll get into that on his story, showing me love that night. You could just tell Fat Joe and Terror Squad wasn't there that night. And also, another thing, what happened also that night, I remember being in the crowd after I lost, and the actual winner of that night ended up being the boy Proof, rest in peace. Proof, that's down with Eminem, Eminem's homeboy. Who would have known, right? All the way back then, like I tell you, it was a school of savages. But the winner that night, he went on to beat Jugger the Bully, the guy Proof, and he could rap, you know what I mean? Proof was there. Proof won that night. I was happy for him, you know what I'm saying? Representing Detroit. But I remember like Buckshot kind of saying something, taking a shot, like, yeah, you know, because like I said, remember, some of the people from New York, they wasn't really feeling, someone was loving this, but someone was really feeling our energy because they looking like, who this dude with all this that they've been hearing about. Of course, it was in the buzz from the show in Philly, and then they just like, just confidence. Just you walking around with all this confidence and all these cats, goons with them. You know what I mean? Like they ready for whatever, you know, in their city. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like up, down, I'm like, yeah, I'm just frustrated after the lost part. And I remember Buckshot Shorty, I'm like, dag, Buckshot, I came up off your music. Him kind of saying the shot like, it don't matter, you know, there's no excuses, you know, you artists, you know. I guess he was just trying to drop some nuggets, but it was like, dude, this is a different situation. I'm like, I understand the cold and all. Like, yeah, I've rapped like with my voice hoarse before or blah, blah, blah. But he didn't know the situation about my ear and all the other stuff. It was like, whatever. So I'm just sitting there like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm like, whatever, man. To myself, like, whatever, nigga. I wasn't trying to hear that, man. But, of course, much respect to Buckshot, Shorty, and Black Moon, man. I came up on Buckshot, man, in middle school. And Buckshot, you know, the boot camp. You know what I mean? Click. But, yeah, I'm going to pick up on everything else on the downside and how my gradual stepping away from the rap game, from everything that had to do with Big Pun on the next one. Your boy.